Okay, I'm going to strip these carbs down now so that I can show you what the inside of these things look like. Right, so this is the float bowl that I opened earlier on. So, are you ready for this? Let's get a torch here. You can see all that green build up in there. Let's see what the rest of them look like. I suppose it's not as bad as the first one. Oh wow, this one's quite bad. Look at this. Look at that. Last one. Oh, it's still got one screw stuck to it. Not the worst. Show you closer to these. You can see it's got all that build up. Floats loose. That floats loose. Floats loose. This float wasn't even moving when I opened it. This one, have a look at them here from this side. This is the one that I did first. You can see it's got spring on it. This one, there's nothing there. Next one, there's no real spring on it. This one also. That means all the needles and seats and those three are stuck, except for the first one, which I loosened up. Well, let's sort it out. Right, let's remove these parts. Now let's see if we can get these floats off here. It's the pin out, floats out, and there's the needle. Let's see if it will focus. You can see the end of the needle. There's a little spring-loaded pin. I suspect the pins are all stuck on the other ones. That's why the floats don't bounce up. Oh my goodness. Take a look at this. Wait, let me take the one next to it off. Right, so let's have a look at this one. This one's correct. As I mentioned, it's got a little pin that's spring loaded. Let's go back to that one. It's upside down. Just when you think you've seen it all. That's interesting. There we go. So that's just the little bottom part where the needle moves in and out. This is the seat. With these little brass jets, it's important you use a screwdriver that actually firmly goes onto the actual slot. Otherwise these things break very easily in that. But other than that, the jet actually seems pretty clean inside. This will be your idle circuits jet. Same for that one. This one's fine as well. And that's the same as well. Main jets should pull out straight. They normally thread in as well, but as you saw, this one's got a little retainer. Main jets. There we go. It's definitely going to need a good cleaning. The air mixture screws here. This is actually very interesting. I've never seen this before. As you can see, it's a little plastic thing there. You can basically turn it left, and it can only go so far because it's got a little notch on it that connects there. But the interesting thing is it pulls straight off. It's nothing more than a little screw that fits on the actual jet. I think it's quite cool, quite ingenious. It limits your amount that you can set it. So you'll basically turn the screw to about a good position, put the cap on there, and then it only allows you to screw it a little bit further in or out. So you've got the top of the carbs. I'm going to just remove the caps because I want to polish them up, and then that will be it. Then I will not strip down any further than this. Right, well, like I said, that's as far as I'm going to strip it. I will soak all the stuff. I do not possess a sonic cleaner, which I would have liked to have, but I do not have one. So I will soak them up, clean them up nicely, and when I'm ready to put it all back together, we will continue. Okay, so I've cleaned up these float bowls now. You can see how much better that looks. I first started using some carb cleaner, but it was actually struggling to remove that stuff, so I ended up just shoving these things into my vapor blaster, and I just vapor blasted the float bowls. This one I started polishing up this carb. I will continue with that. The rest of the carbs here too, as you can see, they look nice and clean. I also took the entire carburetors, shoved them in my vapor blaster and just cleaned the whole lot. It needed it. It was quite dirty and it actually looked like at some stage somebody had tried to paint the carbs silver, but the minute I put it in the greaser, the silver started coming off and it looked horrid. So I don't know why people do that. Petrol normally will wash that silver off anyway, so it just makes a big mess. So anyway, that's nice and clean. I'm going to polish up the two end float bowls, and then obviously the caps on the top of the carbs. I'm going to clean that all up. The rest of the bits and pieces came out quite nice. You can see straight through that. The little pilot jets, all nice and clean. Everything is nice and clean. So alright, let me just get to that, polish the stuff up, and then I'll bring you back once I'm ready to start assembling. Alright, so I've polished up all the two outside float bowls. The two inside ones I just gave them a quick rub down, and all the top little covers, they've all been polished. I'll find the two nicest ones. The little gaskets that go under these covers, they're all broken and torn and stuff, so I quickly made myself 4 new ones. Right, so let's assemble the carbs now. So I might as well start with the top. Let's get all the little screws I need. Well, let's first of all just find the two nicest ones. As you see, they're polished quite nicely. It's a bit hard to decide which ones are actually the better ones. So I'm going to choose that as the outside one, and this one. So those will be the two outside. Other ones are the inner ones. This little loop will be these two little vent pipes over there. They'll come out to run through there. That completes the top. Off to the bottom. So like I said, once again, the two polished float bowls will be on the outside, the other two on the inside. These ones, the little rubber O-rings around you, look completely fine still. First thing, the 4 Molson tubes. This side goes in where the needle is. As you see, it's got a bit of a recess cut there. The flat end goes to the back. These are the 4 needle seats. So before anyone asks me, the parts are completely mixed up here. Generally, when rebuilding a carburetor set, it's good habit to actually keep each jet with its corresponding carburetor. It's probably not, it's not a big deal if you mix them. It does mean you have to retune everything and reset everything. But it's a good habit just to keep it all together. It's a little retainer for the seats. Right, I've got it a little bit more zoomed in. These are the 4 pilot jets. For those of you curious, it's a 40. They're all 40s. It's a good habit to check them. Sometimes on later model carburetors, they may actually sometimes have different sizes. Right. So before I go further, the one thing I never did, as I showed you earlier on the actual mixture screws, I never removed them or anything. I'm actually thinking that was probably not the best idea, so I'm going to pull them all out, just take a compressor, blow those lines clean, put them back in, and I'll bring you back after that. Okay, so I got all the needles out, these screws, just as well. They were all in on random settings and so on, but they're relatively clean, so I'm going to turn them all in now, 1.5 turns, which is generally a standard, and I will check the manual or see if I can find out what the correct spec is, but for now 1.5 turns will suffice. You can start with the easy one. So all you do is you put them in, screw them in till they seat nicely, half turn, half turn, half turn, there we go, that's 1.5 turns. Right, as I mentioned, you've got these little end caps, which allows this to only turn basically 1 full revolution, pretty much not even a full revolution. So seeing I've got the screw in at 1.5 turns, I will put this in halfway. So now I could close the screw with this to 1 full turn in, or open it and it will have 2 out completely. Alright, that's it. Back to the bottom again. So next thing, you put all the needles in. 4 needles. As you can see, the little springs are all operating there. Let's not put any in backwards this time. Next to 4 floats. Normally you should check the height of these floats. So according to specifications, there'll be from the bottom of the float carburetor float bowl to over there, you would basically use a caliper or something and just measure the height. I don't know what the height is, so I will leave it, but a good indication is they are sitting parallel at the moment and they're all operating nicely. So the final step for main jets. So for interest's sake, let's see if I can see what size these jets actually are. Main jets, they're 75. Unlike most main jets that screw in, these ones do not screw in. They actually got a little O-ring, as you can see. They get pressed in there. Just to make sure that they all go in nicely, I'm going to give it a smart little tap. They go in quite firmly. Now to keep them in, we've got this little spring load retainer. So you basically put it in there, and when you screw the float balls in, they will press them in. Right, last thing, the 4 float ball drains. So you'll notice on the float balls, this one's got a screw on that side, and that side. So this float ball at some stage was obviously changed over with the original float ball. This side would obviously have been damaged. Normally would have had both screws on this side and then over here that side, but that's not a big deal. Oh, right. There we go. I think that looks quite smart. So because I've got a test stand for the motor, I will mount this back on the motor, and then I will make I will do a recording of that as well, just to, as I set the carbs up, obviously they need to be balanced in that. I'm not so sure how easy it would be to see that, but if I hold it up in the light, it's important that all of them open the exact same amounts. I've adjusted the idle screw so you can now see the plungers actually pulled up a bit. Those gaps need to be identical, not necessarily in size, but they need to be identical in terms of the amount of airflow that goes through. That is what will balance the carbs. They will get adjusted on the top here. There's a little screw of a Loctite nut there. Each of them I will do them one at a time, and then we'll adjust them from there. You'll see the first one's actually got Loctite on it, so this will be the master one. all the other ones will get adjusted according to that one. But I will show you as I do that shortly.